Okay, I'm gonna make a start. Welcome this afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. The main thing that I want to talk about this afternoon is just to give you a little bit of information. We live in an information vacuum at the moment. No one's knowing what's going to happen. I don't know if you saw yesterday that Germany are going back to school. And the provost of the University of Boston in the United States does not think that they will be going back to school till January 2021. No one really knows what's going on. The first and most important thing I want you to know is we miss you. A school without children is not a school, and I wish we were together, and I hope that soon we might be together. We're praying for you daily. We hope you are well. We hope your families are well. We hope you've suffered no losses in this terrible time. And I hope that you have peace of mind. I just want to... Okay, I think it's come back on. But I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully you can hear me. Yes? Okay. The most important thing is a little bit of history. These are the dates we've been out. So we're on the Thursday before the Friday, and we've been out for 7 weeks. Okay? By tomorrow, we'll be out of school for 7 weeks. It's a huge amount of time. But what about the future? Not going back, what about the future? What does the future hold? Well, as I said, no one knows, but we want to be prepared. We understand the Minister of Education will be giving a very important conference in the middle of May to try and talk about the school year, the exams, and whatever is happening. And we expect that in the middle of May. And if he makes the decision to return to school, we expect it to be sometime near the end of May. So we want to be prepared, but we don't want to do anything that the minister does not decree and that science does not say that we can do. So it's all dependent on what the minister says. But we have a plan, and I want to share that plan with you. If the minister says we're going to return, I want to return to school on Thursday, the 28th of May, 2020. If he says we can return to school, we're going to be prepared to return on Thursday, the 28th of May. And we're going to have 7 weeks of school. We're going to start on Thursday, the 28th of May, and we're going to finish on Friday, the 17th of July, 2020. And this is how we're going to structure those 7 weeks. Before we get to those 7 weeks, we must realize that we have another 5 weeks of distance learning program ahead of us. Okay, so distance learning program has been going for in the 7th week, and we have another 5 weeks, which means that 7 and 5 is 12. We'll have had 3 months of distance learning, 3 months outside school. And then, if the minister says it's okay to come back to school at the end of May, we're going to have 7 weeks of school. And this is how we are going to structure those 7 weeks. We're going to have 4 weeks of teaching to finish up what we haven't finished up. We're going to have 1 study week, 5 days off study, and then 10 days of intensive examination when we are going to examine everything that was done in the distance learning program. So this is it summarized. We're going to have 4 weeks of teaching, 1 week study leave, and 2 weeks of exams. Providing that happens, the way that we are going to move forward on the marks for this year are as follows. Term 1 marks will be 25% of your final mark. Term 2 marks, even though we didn't finish term 2, we're going to give weight 25% of the final mark. There is one problem. We still need to do the makeup for stage exam 3, and we will deal with that when we get the okay to come back to school. The marks from the distance learning program that you're doing at the moment, homework that you're submitting to your teachers and stuff like that will be 10% of the mark. and then 40% of your final mark will be on your final exams. Okay? And that will determine if you are promoted or you are not promoted. Okay, so that's a fairly important thing. The final exams will only test what has been taught from the 1st of March, the first day of distance learning program, to the 26th of June, when we finish teaching those 4 weeks. These are the key points I want you to take away from today. Number one, there will be marks for the distance learning program. We are going to use marks for the distance learning program. You are responsible for everything that has been taught in the distance learning program. It's probably not going to be retaught unless everybody's finished and they haven't got anything to do. When we come back in June, they go over the most important points. But if they have stuff still to finish, we will not be reteaching what we have taught during the distance learning program over video. You are responsible for that, not your parents. You are responsible for what has taken place in the distance learning program, not your parents. As part of the next 5 weeks of the distance learning program, we are going to move the entire senior department over to Google Classrooms. 6, 7, and 8 are already there. 9, 10, 11, and 12 will be moving over the next 2 days. You will get an invitation to the Google Classroom, and you just have to accept that invitation. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want to start to collect work. Some teachers have already started to collect over WhatsApp. You've taken a picture and put it on WhatsApp. But Google Classroom is perfectly suited to taking work in, and we need to give marks for the distance learning program, so that is a perfect opportunity. The only thing you need, apart from Google Classroom, for us to collect your work is a cellular phone. The Office Lens app will talk to you about this. You don't need to know about this at the moment. And then you just submit on Google Classroom. So we will be able to take your work in, we'll be able to mark it, and we'll be able to give you marks back. And those marks will be the 10% of the distance learning program that I showed you. It's not using codes. Everyone thinks they need a code to get into a classroom. You don't need a code. You need a Gmail invitation. So you need to send me your Gmail email address, and many of you have done that, and then I send you an invitation. If you haven't done that, please do that today. Send an email to admin@lesbg.com from your Gmail address. The last thing I want to say is to the seniors and the A-level students, and to these 6 classes I want to talk at the moment. Okay? 12ME, 12SE, 10A, 11A, and 12A. These are the priorities at the moment. In the A-level exams, you know that you will have no more exams. You also know that you will get a grade on your A-level, and that grade will be based on 4 things, one of which is not on this slide. The first thing is schoolwork, every part of schoolwork. Class participation, whether you did your homework. Next will be school grades, which will be the stage exams and the marks you have on lesson. Mock exams will be a huge part of this. Now, when we do those mock exams, we're not exactly sure when we're going to do them in terms of time, but if we come back to school, we'll do them in that time, and if we don't come back to school, we'll try and do them remotely, but we don't know how that's going to work. And finally, it's your previous work in all the A-levels that you have taken in that subject, all the exams. They're going to mix it all together in a formula that they know, that we don't know. We are just going to send a grade based on these 3 criteria that you see in front of you. We're going to send a grade based on those 3 criteria, and they will decide. For class 12, Lebanese program, it seems that we're going to have government exams. Even if we go to December 2020, it seems that people want, or the minister wants to have government exams. Now, whatever happens, even if they stop government exams, you will not just get an IFEDI, a passing IFEDI. What they're saying is exactly like the A-levels have done. It will be based on your school work, it will be based on your school grades, and will be based on mock exams that the schools have been asked to run. Now, we don't know if there are government exams. At the moment, we're going to pretend that they're going to be government exams. If there is not government exams, this is what's going to happen. And this is one of the proposals that people are talking about. I'm just going to give you, it's a proposal. It's not concrete. The minister, I don't think, has even seen this proposal. And this proposal is you take your brevet results, your class 10 results, and your class 11 results, all three of which are with the government already. We already have to give results to the government at the end of the year. And we weight them 1-1-1, and they weight them 1-1-1. The first half of class 12, which you've completed, term 1 and term 2, we give 3 weightings to, and the second half, the mock exams that we're going to do, and the DLP, we give another weighting of 1. And if from that whole result, your mark is above 50%, you will pass this year in terms of the government. Don't forget, it needs to be above 60% if you are going to pass the school criteria. The government criteria is 50, the school criteria is 60. I stress, this is if we're coming back to school. As soon as the minister makes an announcement, we will deal with that announcement. It is if, but I want you to know that we're thinking, that we're planning, and the way that we are thinking. This is our exit plan. Lots has been talked about in the press about an exit plan. How do we come out of lockdown? How do we come out of it? What are we going to do? What's the social distancing requirements? Are we allowed to get in classes of more than 10? Are we allowed to open the school? This is our exit plan. I would like to emphasize that we have plans for the junior school, and we will be revealing them next week. Okay, next week we have plans for the. We'll be revealing our plans for the junior department and the infant department. At the close, I want to say this: nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody has any idea. The only person that knows what's going to happen is the great King, and we will trust him. We will put our trust and our faith in that he is in control, that he knows what you're doing, particularly if you're waiting for the government exams. Do not worry. Worrying would not add an inch to your height or a second to your life. Do not worry. Just keep studying, and he will take care of everything. We will walk with him, and we'll keep on walking with him, because we know that walking with him is peace unlimited. Now, the little verse on the bottom, I want you to think about as you leave this small set of announcements. It's in Psalm 46. It says, "Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts." He knows everything. And as long as we're walking with him, everything is going to be okay. Thank you very, very much for listening. We're missing you. I wish we were back together. We will be back together one day. We'll get back together. And when we do, that will be a great, great time. Thank you very much for listening.